This collaboration aimed to position the chii 2026 not just as a standalone event, but we see it actually as a European platform for industrial spectral imaging, and we want to integrate hardware suppliers, algorithm developers, and of course, system integrators.
Welcome to a new episode of our inVISION podcast, 5 Questions To. Our topics are image processing, machine and embedded vision, AI and metrology. My name is Peter Ebert, Editor-in-Chief of inVISION, and I'm happy to have you here for a new episode.
After a long time, the Hyperspectral Imaging Conference, chii, will take place again in Graz next year from May 20 to 21. Therefore, Paul-Gerald Dittrich, project manager at Spectronet, explains what new topics will be covered there and what the White Rabbit has to do with it. Hello, Paul. Nice to have you here in our inVISION podcast.
Thank you very much for the invitation, Peter. I'm looking forward to this. If Paul and Peter come together, let's see what happens.
Always something great. I'm quite sure about this. First question, of course, what is the chii? And maybe you can tell us where the White Rabbit is coming from.
So I will start actually with the second part of your question. So where the White Rabbit comes from. When the chii first started in 2016, we had the idea that hyperspectral imaging isn't pretty known so far. And we tried to tell the story of Alice who finds the rabbit hole and goes through the rabbit hole. And when hyperspectral imaging develops and emerge, we will find the right rabbit. And now we are in 2026. Hyperspectral imaging has emerged and has become bigger and more important. And now we believe that we found the White Rabbit. And that is where the White Rabbit comes from.
Great story. But maybe, first of all, what is the chii and what is chii standing for?
So chii stands for a conference on hyperspectral or conference for hyperspectral imaging in industry. And hyperspectral imaging, for those on the radio who are not familiar with that deep, hyperspectral imaging is a powerful optical technique that captures both spatial and spectral information for every pixel of an image or an image scene. And that is why it is so interesting for a diverse kind of applications. And what we want to do with the chii, we want to bring together, of course, researchers, but equipment manufacturers, integrators, and end users from different kind of sectors, such as industrial inspection and quality control. Of course, the agriculture and food people. Sorting and recycling is important. Life science and medical getting more and more important. The environmental monitoring, and we have to think about defense and security.
A lot of areas where hyperspectral imaging is important for. Paul, you already mentioned it. chii started 2016 in Graz. There were, I think, 3 live events in Graz, but the last one was 2018. Why did it take so long for a new event?
Excellent, and you were there. Insightful question. Also a question that many in the hyperspectral imaging community have wondered about.
I'm quite sure.
Why there was such a long gap between chii 2018 in Graz, which was the last chii which was live. So in 2016, 2017 and 2018 in Graz, we established a very successful conference format. It was the meeting point for industrial hyperspectral imaging. But after 2018, the community decided and expected that the next edition will be around 2020. And then we had the plan to continuing this in the 2-year rhythm. However, several factors caused a break. And the first factor who caused a break was this global pandemic that hit us just while planning the chii 2020. There were travel restrictions, lockdowns, which made an in-person international event impossible. But we were not lazy. We developed the chii to a virtual conference format, and we realized an ongoing online event. It was called chii Online from the end of summer 2020 to spring 2021, with live demonstrations, hardware showcases, and direct networking online as far as this was possible. That was one factor who caused the break. And furthermore, the industry was restructuring. And there were several technology developments which happened between 2019 and 2023. From my point of view, the hyperspectral imaging market and the industry changed significantly. Let's say many small hyperspectral imaging startups were acquired rapidly. And so during this time from 2019 to 2023, a lot of companies reevaluated their strategies and their R&D priorities. Beside the online event, we also took time and rethink the conference concept to match it with a now new completely technological and business landscape. Also, let's say it like that, the main partner and initiator shifted his focus and discontinued its business, and these structural changes required time and some coordination efforts.
Now, ski is scheduled to take place in Graz again in May 2026. How did the new event come about?
First of all, let me say why 2026 makes sense. Several trends in 2026 align perfectly with our planned chii comeback. We have this developed maturity of compact, robust hyperspectral imaging system. We have now this, let's say it in general here, AI-driven processing approaches and a lot of expanding application domains in biomedical, defense, recycling, agriculture, and so on. Therefore, the chii 2026 in Graz marks not just a continuation. For us, it marks a new generation of this conference.
You mentioned 26, but are there certain people who have great interest to start chii again, or companies?
Yeah, actually, after the last chii in person in 2018, the hyperspectral community entered this period of rapid technological change. And of course, we had this phase of global disruption. But in the back, the community demand for a dedicated industrial hyperspectral imaging conference growth. So since 2018, different researchers, manufacturers, and integrators across Europe and actually the world repeatedly voiced a clear message to me. They always had a clear message that they want and need a meeting point for applied hyperspectral imaging again, one that connects researchers, hardware guys, and industrial users. So we get this community push. And this push was an impulse to bring the chii back. And we did this with new partners and now in a broader ecosystem. To relaunch the chii in 2026, a new organizational alliance has been formed. We are doing this with EVK, a headball company, one of the original initiators, located in Graz. They are gold sponsor of the chii. We're doing this together with Kubert as part of the MTech Hyperspectral Group, located in Ulm, and they are also a gold sponsor. And we get help from the Styrian Economic Development, and of course, we are doing this together with the Enterprise Europe Network. The organizational stuff and the minds behind it are from Spectronet. And Spectronet, for those of you who don't know us, we are a European innovation collaboration cluster, which is very active in the fields of optics, vision, and AI. This collaboration aimed to position the chii 2026 not just as a standalone event, but we see it actually as a European platform for industrial spectral imaging. And we want to integrate hardware suppliers, algorithm developers, and of course, system integrators.
Paul, thanks. Will the G 2026 be different from previous conferences? And is it planned that it will be a yearly event or a bi-yearly event every 2 years?
From 2026 on, it is planned to do it every 2 years. The chii 2026 will be recognizably a chii conference, but conceptually, we plan to renew it completely.
Do we have some details already?
Yeah, we want to keep the original conference DNA, which is based on the Spectronet collaboration conference format, and also a focus on industrial hyperspectral imaging, real-world applications, and a community networking part. But we will update it for today's AI-driven, multimodal, and application focus area. And how we will do it? First of all, we think from hyperspectral imaging to this kind of spectral intelligence. So chii 26, concerning the topics, try to expand the scope to the entire value chain, from photonic sensing and optics to AI-based interpretation and decision support. So it's no longer just about capturing spectra with different kind of sensors. It's about turning spectral data into actionable intelligence and usable data. And we want to show a structured technology to application flow. And so with chii 2026, we introduce a session architecture, which is based on 7 major topics: fundamentals and emerging principles, sensor and photonic innovation, system design and integration, data processing and AI, very important, calibration and standards, and of course, application and demonstrations. And last but not least, there will be a dedicated session to market trends and sustainability.
Lots of interesting topics.
Yeah. And furthermore to these topics, we have live demos and a matchmaking event. We will try to add different interactive zones during the chii 2026. So live demonstration area for real-time system showcases. We are planning to have SME innovation spotlights. And of course, we are supported by Enterprise Europe Network, and we will have B2B matchmaking events to connect technology suppliers and end users. The goal is to turning the chii into a collaboration marketplace more than just a lecture hall. And one more thing, we are planning 3 cross-domain keynotes for our 3 major topics we try to handle. The chii 2026 anchors the event in 3 global application fields, and one of them is industrial, so automation, quality control, recycling. We will have biomedical as lead topic with diagnostics, tissue imaging, life sciences, and of course, defense and security. So surveillance, material detection, hazard sensing.
Paul, thank you. Sounds like no one should miss this great event. But we talked a lot about the conference. We talked a lot about hyperspectral topics. But maybe at the end, and my last question would be, what hyperspectral imaging trends do you currently see in the market?
That is a good question. For me, major trends are in miniaturization and embedded sensor systems. Sensors are getting smaller, lighter, less power hungry. There is a market demand for more cost-effective cameras. That is totally clear. Also in miniaturization, this opens up new form factors, and therefore you get new applications in handheld device, drones, inline inspection, mobile, biomedical, and so on. Another key trend I see is the fusion with AI, deep learning, and also, let's say, embedded analytics. And the whole topic AI, particularly, of course, deep learning, AI in conjunction with hyperspectral data will on one side drive demand in high-end applications, and on the other side, in conjunction with low-cost cameras, it will also penetrate mainstream HSI applications more cost-effectively.
Paul, thank you for giving us an overview about the upcoming chii 2026 and the hyperspectral imaging technology. It was, as always, a pleasure to talk with you. It was great to have you here in our podcast as a guest. I'm quite sure we will see each other very soon again.
Thank you very much, Peter. It was a pleasure for me too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
If you would like to find out more about inVISION, please register for our inVISION newsletter at invision-news.de/news, become a follower of our LinkedIn channel, inVISION News, or find out about our webinars at invision-news.com/TechTalks. I look forward to welcoming you to our next episode of our inVISION podcast, 5 Questions 2.